There's a line drive high and deep to left. It is gone! 3-run home run, Kyle Kubat. Fly ball to left, Sweeney hit well, and oh, Charlie Capsella, what a play! Here's a line drive out to center field. It's a grand slam! Going back is Shaw. He is going to get there. What a catch! And he's going to hop over the fence while doing it. What a coming home. It's Morales to throw on a double up. Is it in time? It is in time! Here's a rocket. Deep left field. Does this have a chance to go? It is gone! Go ahead, Homer. Tyler Wiltsey on the front.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the playoffs in the Tri-County Baseball League start today. I apologize if I'm a little out of breath. They started a little early, so I had to make a full sprint out to the outfield, although my full sprint is not very fast. But we've got ourselves one of the most evenly matched games you can have in the qualifier rounds of the TCBL playoffs between the Cinnaminson Reds and the South Jersey Grizzlies. Oh boy. Hot and humid Wednesday afternoon. We've got ourselves a great game here from Runnymede, Babe Ruth. We're going to have ourselves a wonderful opener to the Tri-County playoffs. We'll go over lineup shortly. And we've got ourselves Vincent Folk in our producer spot. And I'm your play-by-play broadcaster, Dan Wilkins, as it looks like we are just about to get set for the first game of 3 in the qualifier rounds. Yeah, they started taking the field as soon as I got the Cinnaminson lineup, and I was told that we were going to get started at 6:10, but 6:03 it is, starting 7 minutes ahead of schedule, with Connell Roberts leading it off for Cinnaminson. It'll be Roberts, Bryce Keller, the second baseman, and Tim Petrus, the center fielder, leading it off, versus Danny Robeson of the Grizzlies. Here we go. First pitch. And the playoffs are underway with the ball outside. Bit of a tight zone there, and it's 2-0. This is down and in, 3-0 to Connell Roberts, the shortstop for Cinnaminson. One of the 4 teams absorbed last year in the Rancocas Valley League merger with the Tri-County League, expanding the league from 8 to 12 teams, as there's a strike on the inside corner. That, along with the Delran Browns, the Burlington Township Pirates, and the Pine Barrens Phantoms. Those were the 4 teams that were an addition to the league. So ball 4 to Connell Roberts. And that's how we get underway with a leadoff walk. As now Bryce Keller, the second baseman, will bat. Fouled back. 0-1. Throw over to first, nothing going on there, but the throw does get away, rolls down the first base line, and it will be out of play, so a free base for Connell Roberts, and that moves him up to second base. Yeah, this will be our first of many games covered in the Tri-County playoffs this summer, as we've got the qualifier rounds, which I would have had time to explain the playoff format in a more long-winded form, but we had to start the broadcast abnormally early. I don't know why they started the game 7 minutes ahead of schedule, but I think the umpires just wanted to get the game started, maybe in case there was a thunderstorm threat or anything like that. There are bugs everywhere. They are absolutely eating me alive. But yeah, here is Keller. Again, he'll be followed by Tim Petruselli. Here's the pitch. One's upstairs. 2-1 count to Keller. If you hear any smacking noises, that's me trying to shoo the bugs away. That's a foul ball. 2-2. But yeah, the full starting lineup for Cinnaminson this evening is going to be Connell Roberts, the shortstop, Bryce Keller, the second baseman, Tim Petroselli, the center fielder, Kyle Bailey, Kyle Bally, the third baseman, Sam Pepper, the DH, Sean Aarons, the left fielder, Brandon Martin, the first baseman, Vinny Sangataldo, the right fielder, and then the catcher behind the plate is going to be Kevin Cardes with Mark Wickersham on the mound. So a strikeout for Roberson, and that will be the first out of the ball game for the lefty Petroselli. Runner on second and one down. First pitch is a strike. And the defensive lineup for the Grizzlies this evening being behind the plate, Nick Nigro, Danny Robeson on the mound, Dama Versa of PVI at first base. That one misses. Sasha Palma at second. And then after that in the infield, Ricky Templeton at third. Teddy Gorski, the batting champion in the regular season for the Tri-County League. He's at short. And then in the outfield from left to right, Cooper Root in left, Darren Alperley in center, and then Zach Morales, the Penn State Abington transfer, in right. That one will be outside. But being able to talk to both of these coaches, I think they have a consensus agreement that this is probably the most evenly matched game in the playoffs so far. And of course, as the qualifier rounds go on, you know, you get to see some of the teams that have had more tumultuous and more challenging seasons to traverse. But that one is a foul ball down the right field line. But I think it goes without saying that, you know, when you're talking about teams like this, especially when you're in a north versus south kind of competition, you know, you're having to deal with being the home team all three games, or if you're Cinnaminson, you're the visitor all three games. So you've kind of got a unlucky battle to face. But that's going to be a wild pitch. Throw down to third is not in time. He gets the base. And a stolen bag at third for Connell Roberts. And that puts Cinnaminson 90 feet away. And again, 90 feet away after maybe some disagreement from the Grizzlies players out here, but that'll be a swing and a miss. And two down. 2 outs, 2 strikeouts for Roberson, and this is going to bring up Kyle Bally. So a walk, and then an error on the pitcher, an E1, and then a stolen base of third. Set Cinnaminson up to possibly get themselves on the board first with a strike from the southpaw. 0-1. Foul back. Oh, this is downstairs to Bally. Again, the DH Sam Pepper on deck. The first three for the Grizzlies will be Teddy Gorski, the shortstop, Ricky Templeton, the third baseman, and Zach Morales, the right fielder, in the bottom half of the first. Just getting started here at Runnymede, Babe Ruth. No score between the Reds and the Grizzlies. Fly ball popped up, shallow center, going over and calling it off and making the catch To retire the side will be the center fielder, Mr. Opperly, excuse me. We go to the bottom of the first, no score between Cinnaminson and South Jersey Grizzlies here in the playoff opener of the Tri-County Baseball League. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back a little bit earlier than expected. I was going to do this whole pregame routine before the game actually started, but because of the fact that it was a little bit convoluted and I wasn't able to get back to the booth in time for the players to take the field, and I kind of got caught in the crossfire. Let's just go over some things real quick. So Cinnaminson is the number 5 seed out of the 8 that are not being allowed to go to the second round via the bye rule for the top 4 teams in the TCBL. And the South Jersey team is the number 4 seed, so that makes it a pretty evenly matched series in a best of 3 between Cinnaminson and the Grizzlies. But as we'll talk about later during this broadcast, it's going to be mostly a battle of best of 3s. All of the series that are decided, deciding who moves on, including the Carter Cup in the end, is going to be a best of 3 series all the way back in the qualifier rounds. But the top 4 teams that got the bye, Pine Barrens, CHBR, Gartons, and CHP, those are the 4 teams that we will not see until at least next week. So we'll go back to the main board here, as that explanation hopefully was sufficed, but the first pitch back to the center field spot, and it'll be a base hit. So first pitch single for for Teddy Gorski, the regular season batting title holder for the Grizzlies and also for the entire Tri-County League. That puts a runner on first with nobody out for Ricky Templeton, the third baseman. The full lineup for the Grizzlies this evening will be Gorski, Templeton, Morales, Darren Opperly in center field, Cooper Root in left, Sasha Palma, the second baseman, batting sixth, Dama Versa, the first baseman, batting 7th, Nick Nigro behind the plate, batting 8th, and then AJ McGettigan in the 9 spot as the designated hitter. That was a base hit out to center field on the first pitch by Gorski. And now, throw back to first, nothing going on there. The starter for Cinnaminson this afternoon being Mark Wickersham, 41. 3 men on the bench for Cinnaminson: Dante Honorado, Clint Hart, and Brett Miller. Maybe a couple more on the way, depending on how the traffic on the Black Horse Pike flows, because it's been really bad all evening. We got here about 5:20, way later than I wanted to be here, but because of traffic and other things that were holding us up, didn't really make it in the time frame that I wanted, but that's kind of why we were late to the party. Wickersham looks over at first. Another throw over, a little bit more contentious this time, but still no cigar. And that'll be 1 out on the strikeout of Templeton. So here's Zach Morales. Penn State Abington player, hit 12 home runs and hit over 400 in his year 2023 season at Penn State Abington, one of the sub-campuses of the Penn State Nittany Lions. Just like Rutgers Camden and Rutgers Newark are sub-campuses of Rutgers University, although I think that's fairly self-explanatory. But a pop-up in the infield. Who's going to call for this one? It'll be over at third. And making the play over there will be Kyle Bally for the second out. So here's Darren Alperly, center fielder. He'll be followed by Cooper Root if the inning continues. Misses down. A slow toss over to first. Obviously no pickoff move there. I guess if you really want to get the guy off guard and try to make that slow throw, I just don't see a scenario where that would be practical, where that would work, but no score here in the bottom of the first between Cinnaminson and the South Jersey Grizzlies. Cinnaminson is one of those names that has such a weird, convoluted story about its origin, because some people had originally thought that it had to do with the actual cinnamon spice, you know, like what you would use in food, but I've been told that it's a lot like Idaho, for example, where Idaho doesn't really have a real origin behind its name. And that's the funny thing about it, is that I know there's something that, yeah, here we go. So, by the way, that was ball 4 to Darren Alperly. But there was something that I read a couple of weeks ago that I thought was really interesting from a friend of mine, Adria, who said, as per the Rutgers Book of Names, the name comes from Asan Minna, which makes sense and has historical backing. And Adria said, I've done my own research before, I just guess Sweet Water sounds better on real estate ads than Stone Island. So, it basically, Cinnaminson was supposed to mean sweet water, but there's no evidence of that. Which makes sense, because cinnamon can make things sweeter, but that's going to be a sweet ground ball at the first base to retire the side. No score after 1 here from Runnymede. We'll talk about historical origin stories later, but after 1, no score. Here in the qualifier round, game 1 between the Reds and the Grizzlies. We'll be right back. Here in the top of the second inning, Cinnaminson and South Jersey got both base runners on in the bottom half, or excuse me, in their respective halves of the first inning, but neither scored. So here is the delivery from Roberson, as that one is well outside, to Cinnaminson's leadoff man here in the second, Sam Pepper. After four men came to the plate for each the Grizzlies and the Reds. And we'll start it off with Pepper, Aarons of Delran, and Brandon Martin.
Is this going to be on YouTube?
Yes, it is. It's on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting as we're covering the Tri-County League qualifying rounds, game 1 of 3 here between the South Jersey Grizzlies and the Cinnaminson Reds. Well, misses inside. I can't stand children. See, whenever I get asked that question, I always try to incorporate it into the broadcast, like my own little self-promo thing, but it's always annoying because it's obvious that a guy is talking into a camera and that there's somebody else doing work. The first thing that should not come to your mind is, let's start a conversation. But maybe I'm naive. Maybe I'm the Scrooge. That's his name from like Christmas Past and all that. Maybe I'm the grumpy one. That one's a foul ball. But I think it's reasonable. You see a live camera running. Maybe not the best idea to talk to the guy. Good grief. Little roller out towards second, picked up, and the throw to first on the underhand is in time. One away. Pepper barely even ran out of the box. Sorry if my camera movement again is a little is a little sharp because all these bugs are killing us out here. I definitely should have taken up South Jersey Grizzlies' offer to to go up in the press box. Would have been a lot less bugs. But we're out here with the elements, so are the rest of the players. They keep flying into our booth. That one misses inside to Sean Aarons. Fly ball, foul down the right field line. But yeah, I thought it was interesting that whole origin story I heard about Cinnaminson meaning sweet water, which makes sense, but at the same time it also makes sense that there's no actual origin story behind that has evidence. Oh, a nice snag at second base, throw to first in time. Nice scoop there by Sasha Palma. And there will be 2 down quite quickly here, as Cinnaminson has hit a lot of balls hard, but just not where they wanted them. So that will bring up Brandon Martin, the first baseman. He'll be followed by Vinny Sangataldo if the inning continues. First pitch inside. And after 4 men came to the plate for South Jersey in the bottom half of the first, it'll be Cooper Root, Sasha Palma, and Dom Aversa of Paul Sixth in the bottom half of the second. Due up at least, as there's a strike. Right just above the knees. You're watching coverage of the Tri-County Baseball League as we start the playoffs off with game 1 of the qualifying round between the number 5 seed Cinnaminson Reds and the number 4 seed SJ Grizzlies, at least out of the 8 teams that are not going to get the bye. As we said, Pine Barrens, CHP, Gardens of Vineland, and the CHBR club, not in that order considering their points, but those 4 teams have automatically advanced to the second round of the Tri-County playoffs. Ground ball, foul down the third base line. But as we were saying, if you have any questions or comments about today's broadcast, drop me a line at thedanwilkinsshow@gmail.com. Roberson ready, he kicks and delivers. Line shot into left field, and that'll be a base hit. Picked up out there by Auperley. Or rather by Cooper Root, excuse me. And now Cinnaminson will at least have some legs to stand on, as they'll have a runner on first after 2 quick outs for Sangataldo, their right fielder. Kevin Carty, their catcher, is on deck. And as we said, these qualifying rounds are best of 3. All 3 games here will be played at the Runnymede Babe Ruth, with the Grizzlies club being the home team for all 3 games in the qualifiers, as that one misses in. And then as we move along, get deeper and deeper into the playoffs, we will have more best of 3 series all the way up until the Carter Cup, which should be somewhere, I think, first or second week of August at Alcyon Park. August 7th. All right, nice. There's a line drive, right center field, and that'll be a base hit. Rounding second, going for third, and trying to get in there. He is safe at third. And a clutch base hit from the bottom of the order. Sangataldo moves the runners into scoring position with runners on the corners and 2 down for Kevin Carty. So yeah, these playoffs, I mean, starting now in mid-July, they're going to run into the first week of August, and that's how we'll put a cap on this league this year. But a quick mound visit here from Coach Gruber and the rest of the Grizzlies infield. As we said, this is a points-based league, so even though the Grizzlies had a better, the Reds had a better record than the Grizzlies, had a better winning percentage, more wins, etc., it's based on the points you receive, that you receive per game that you play. And of course, all that information is available on the Tri-County Baseball website. You can follow them on their Twitter account at Tri-County Online, and you can follow us on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting on our Twitter account at DW Broadcasting. You can follow there for more updates, especially in regards to our fall plans, including fall soccer coverage, fall football coverage, our Friday Night Lights series on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. It's going to be a fun one. Going to be a heck of a ride from August to October this year. It's going to be some of the most fun I've had doing high school sports, covering the exciting environments and atmospheres that go along with covering, without a doubt, the most popular high school sport being football. Let's swing on this. Called a strike to Carty. It's 0-2. That one will miss. 1-2. After back-to-back singles, Cinnaminson's got some life with runners on the corners and the bottom of the order carrying the weight and doing the heavy lifting, if you will. But Connell Roberts is on deck for the Reds. They'll just have to get there first. Carty gets a piece of it, and it's a foul ball. Speaking of our Friday Night Lights series, tune in on August 25th as the Cherry Hill East Cougars face off against the Triton Mustangs in our first edition of Friday Night Lights football on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting from Triton Regional High School, 6 p.m. start time, again, Friday, August 25th. That will be a fun one. Poked out towards the first baseline and foul. I mean, there's a whole complex here at Runnymede Babe Ruth. I had never seen these fields before until I was on a phone call with Bill. I think it was last night, and I think it might have been the day before that, but we were talking about these fields, and I didn't even know there were fields here because I'm always on the Black Horse Pike, and you know, obviously when you're driving, you're not looking out to the window to see what's there, but You know, the Wawa back here, didn't know there was a baseball field here. I had no idea. And there's, in fact, 1, 2, 3, 4 fields here at least of varying sizes and dimensions and all the rest of it. But it's a wonderful landscape out here. Grass is a little tall, but what are you going to do about it, you know? With another foul ball. I mean, they've got a press box back here, although we would have gone into the press box, but I think the problem was that we showed up a little later than we wanted to because of the turnpike traffic, with this field being so close to the New Jersey Turnpike on and off ramp. There was probably about 1 million cars out there that just didn't want to let us in, so, you know, what are you going to do about it? Another pitch, and Carty finally surrenders as the side is retired. Robeson records his 3rd strikeout, and he gets out of the jam, leaving 2 Reds on base. After 1.5, it is no score between the Grizzlies and the Reds here in the playoff opener here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. We'll be right back.
Brand will be home tomorrow against Haddonfield Dogs. If we're going to do a second game in this series, I'd rather do more games starting in the quarters, semis, and, you know, just progressively.
Here's the first pitch and a fly ball. Sorry. First pitch fouled. Here in the bottom of the 2nd inning, no score between Cinnaminson and the South Jersey Grizzlies here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. If you're just tuning in, no score after 1.5, although Cinnaminson did get 2 runners on in the top half of the 2nd. That one misses. The Grizzlies starter Danny Robeson with 3 strikeouts in 2 innings so far. Fairly laid-back game here from the Runnymede Babe Ruth. I know we had some haze in the air the last couple of nights due to more wildfire smoke from Canada. I know I certainly saw it when I was at the Phillies game last night. It was a good game to go for sure. No flying hot dogs this time. Although I made the very wise decision of going to Wawa before the game, and the real funny story about ballpark food is that I went to Wawa, I got a 6-inch sandwich, a drink, and 2 packs of club crackers. as one does. But there's a line drive to left, a base hit. But that was $14, including the 35-cent bag. I go into the ballpark. I realize I ran out of my drink, after the first pitch, and I go to grab from that self-checkout store at the ballpark one of the Smart Waters in the huge canister, and and like a pack of peanut M&Ms, and that itself was $14. That it was insane. And of course, I still went to Bull's Barbecue, as always, because you can't pass up on Bull's Barbecue. And usually Greg Lazinski's there. So, for the record, Greg Lazinski does have a Dan Wilkins Broadcasting business card. So, that's not the worst thing in the world. Maybe he's watched a few of my videos. I don't know. But I can't get that specific data from YouTube, unfortunately. But after the base hit to lead off the bottom of the third, it's going to bring up Sasha Palma, the second baseman here. Going down to second base, here comes the throw. It is in plenty of time by a country mile, and Root is retired. Or excuse me, no, that is, excuse me, I was off by one. Palma is retired, and now Dom Aversa of PVI is at the dish. I was staggered incorrectly in my lineup, but apologies there. We've got one out now after the caught stealing at second base. A pitch from Wickersham is going to retire Aversa. So rather quickly and a little bit in an unorthodox manner will be 2 down. 9 men have come to the plate in 2 innings for Cinnaminson, so we'll have our regular 1, 2, 3 in the top half of the third. Roberts, Keller, and Petroselli. First pitch is a strike. There's another strike. A.J. McGettigan on deck after Nick Nigro if the inning continues. Little floater down the first base line and into the parking lot. Liner to right, that's a base hit. Oh my goodness, did they get him at first? They did not. That was very close. I don't think I've ever written down a 9-3 putout in my scorecard before, but that was absolutely something right there. That's going to be scored as a base hit, though, for Nigro, bringing up A.J. McGettigan. Don't see that every day, though. I mean, really, it's become even rarer in Major League Baseball because of the shift restrictions, with where the outfielders have to stand, with where the infielders have to stand. The game is becoming a lot more regulated, a lot more restricted, if you will. I was at the game last night, Milwaukee and Philly, and it was 2 hours, 35 minutes. When I went a couple of weeks ago to see Detroit play, I believe that was in the beginning of June, it was 2 hours and 7 minutes. I've had high school baseball broadcasts that were 5 innings due to mercy rules that were longer than that. I've had 7-inning games that were longer that were longer than that. So it was kind of it was a weird phenomenon to feel like, I got my cheesesteak, I got my drinks or whatever, and by the time I was back at my seat, a full inning had passed. And that's why I like this style of baseball, especially in the Tri-County League, where, some of these guys are older playing, whether they're college, some of these guys have already graduated college in their 30s or whatever. But it's a slower pace of play. And sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need a slower pace of play. Not everything can be, so quick and rushed that it ends up being over in 2 hours for a full 9-inning game. You don't need that. It's a disservice to the fans that paid their fair share and paid an arm and a leg for tickets only to be at the ballpark for 2 hours. There's a ground ball out to second base, picked up, throw to first on the run, and it's in time. Cinnaminson having some nice web gems in the infield today, but the side is retired. After 2, no score here in Runnymede. Top of the 3rd inning, Robeson still working quickly here with the leadoff man, Connell Roberts, being the first to hit here in the top of the 3rd for the Reds. This broadcast is brought to you in part by DJK Roofing, South Jersey's number one roofing supplier with over 200 5-star reviews on the web. Get a free quote today at 856-778-3900. See, that's what happens when I try to do an ad read like I'm an auctioneer. It just ends up being terrible. Fly ball down the right field line, and that's going to be a foul ball.
There. Are you big DOA?
What?
Big DOA.
What's that? DOA? What's that have to do with baseball?
See all these, there's I think a youth camp going on behind us,
Oh, really?
and he keeps counting down, and all I can think in my head is the Daisy Girl ads from the 60s, or the late 70s, whatever. I keep hearing the 10, 9, 8, and I keep seeing the old-fashioned commercial in my head. Maybe for our baby boomer generation viewers, you might remember that a little bit well, but that's also because of my excessive documentary habits as of late. But a swing and a miss. Robeson records his 4th strikeout of the night. There's one down. Ricky Templeton, the 3rd baseman. Or excuse me, that's for the wrong side. That will now be Bryce Keller, the 2nd baseman for the Reds. I do see lights on one side of the field here, but I don't think they're being utilized, so I think we'll just try to play until you can't see no more. There's lights down the right field line, but they aren't on, and they're the only lights here, so I don't know. I don't think that they're used primarily for the field, but you can see out there, that's where they are. They're up, let's see. Yeah, they're up there, up above the scoreboard, everything like that, but I don't think they're utilized for the field exactly. Swing and a foul. And here will be the pitch to Keller, and another foul ball down the right field line. Swing and a miss. Roberson continuing to have a clean frame here with 5 strikeouts in 2 2/3. As the home side, while they haven't been able to push much across in terms of the offensive side of the ball, their defense has definitely been top-notch in being able to have efficient outs. Line shot foul. That one actually ricocheted off of the Grizzlies' dugout. That one will miss on what appeared to be a breaking ball. Up and in. If you're just tuning in, not a whole lot of action to start the ball game so far. Here in the top of the third, no score between Cinnaminson and South Jersey. That will bring some action to the ballpark real quick with a hit by pitch right in the middle of the back for Tim Petroselli. And he'll slowly walk down to first base, and when he goes back to the dugout, he'll rub some dirt on it. As now here is Kyle Bally. Throw over to first. Again, a very slow toss, but no cigar on that one. That one's hit well, but out to straightaway center field. Under it, and making the catch quite nonchalantly will be Darren Auperley. Side is retired, and going to the bottom of the third. Still no score in a tight playoff game here between the Grizzlies and the Reds. We'll be right back. Bottom of the third, Mark Wickersham still working out here, and both teams still scoreless here at Runnymede Babe Ruth. As a first pitch fly ball down the left field line, and that will go out of play. 0-1. If you're just tuning in, no score here in the bottom of the third between the Grizzlies and the Reds. I remember when we were doing games at the Belmar Rec facilities for American Legion District play this weekend, this past weekend. One of the trivia questions was, what was the name that the Cincinnati Reds changed their name to when they were accused of, or when they were trying to disassociate themselves with the Red Scare back in the 1950s? And the answer was the Red Legs. But there's two teams in the Tri-County League that have a very similar resemblance to the Reds logo. There's obviously Cinnaminson, but there's also the Camden Ball Club that has it without the extra text. But shallow fly ball caught it short by Connell Robinson is one down.
Stay there! Stay there! Stay there! Please, stay there! Stay there! Stay there! Stay there!
So Gorski pops out. And here is Bryce Keller. Wickersham will make sure he throws into the strike zone so that he will stay there, stay there, stay there. He doesn't want him leaving the batter's box. It's always funny when those moments get picked up on our mic, because the mic that we use is the camera. So there's no external mics. The camera picks me up well, but the downside is it also picks up the outside world as well, which I like. If, you know, even at a place like Pittman where we're setting up on the hill 400 feet away from home plate, you can still hear the pop of the glove hitting the catcher's mitt. You can still hear the crack of the bat. And that's how good the camera mic is, and, you know, the Panasonic that we have, it's really great. Speaking of, there's a fly ball out to left, straight away, and making the catch out there and left for the second out. So Templeton is retired. This will bring up Zach Morales. Morales popped out to the third baseman his first time. Yeah, really a nice pitcher's duel here between Wickersham and Danny Roberson. Just a couple of hits on each side. Only 3 for the Grizzlies side so far this evening, but for the Cinnaminson side, they've got 2, both of them in the second inning, from Martin and Sangapalto. Fouled back. 6:55 Eastern here from Runnymede Babe Ruth. A nice evening here for baseball. A little bit more humid than it was earlier today, but 81 degrees, partly cloudy skies. A very slight breeze of 5 miles per hour to the west, as there's a ground ball up the first base line, but foul and past the reach of Brandon Martin. So the top 3 hitters in the order for the Grizzlies have been shut down in what has been a very tight game so far, and a very nice pitcher's duel. That one will miss. That one's hit well, left center field, going back, and it is gone! Solo home run, Zach Morales, just over our booth in the tall fence in left center field. Petroselli got up there to scale the fence, but to no avail, as Morales breaks the ice and sends the pitcher's duel for a loop. It's 1-0 South Jersey. And greeted to a mostly empty dugout, but he gets some nice high fives there, as this will now bring up excuse me, Appel, or Auberly, excuse me. That was deep. That was very deep. That one misses. So Zach Morales, who hit 12 home runs for Penn State Abington. Now this one's hit well, out to left center, and it is going to be caught just in front of the wall by Aarons, and the side is retired. That was almost back-to-back, but Zach Morales says hello, and the inning is over. As you can see, the home run ball has now been returned to its rightful owner in center field. We go to the top of the fourth, 1-0 Grizzlies on the long ball by Morales. Here we are in the top of the fourth inning. South Jersey and the Grizzlies just took a 1-0 lead over the Cinnaminson Reds on a towering home run off the bat of Zach Morales. Was really a majestic sight. But that's how we got the game started, as in the Tri-County Baseball Qualifiers, we've got ourselves a 1-0 game. Speaking of, though, there's a line drive in the right field, a base hit. Oh, did they get him there? Yes, they did! 9-3 put out. We saw hints of that in the but how about it? A 9-3 put out, and that's how we start the fourth. The most interesting things happen when you least expect them. I'll tell you that right now. I mean, Pepper lined it to right, and we knew that Morales had the arm. But that was very impressive, to say the least. I've never written down a 9-3 in my scorecard before. There's a pop-up foul. So, yes, we will go to trivia time. So today's question is, when was the last year that that Philly, that as in whether Citizen Bank Park or the Veterans Stadium, hosted the All-Star game? As there's another foul back to the screen. My answers aren't showing up on the board here. Hold on. Oh, there we go. 1999, 2011, 1996, or 1984. The answer will be revealed in the bottom of the fourth inning. And the pitch. Ground ball out in between third and short. Picked up on a bare hand. Throw to first, and that is not in time. Just got pulled off the bag. And Aarons will be safe at first. On the infield single. Valiant effort regardless, though. And it will bring up Brandon Martin. Line drive, driven to left. It is off the wall. And that's going to be a long single for Brandon Martin. So that moves everybody up 90 feet. But wow, that was a thunderous roar off the bat of Martin. And if that was at a shorter fence, as in height-wise, not distance-wise, that would have most certainly been a home run. So here will be the right fielder, Sangataldo. He singled back in the second. Bugs still raging on here in Runnymede. There is a strike. That'll be a little tapper out in front of the mound. Throwing to first will be Roberson, and he makes the play. But it moves the runners over to second and third. So Cinnaminson is just a base hit away from taking that lead back from the SJ Grizzlies. So we'll see what they can muster here, but right now it'll be the job of Kevin Carty, who had a very long and tumultuous at bat, but eventually struck out in his first appearance. Swing and a miss. 0-1. Again, Connell Roberts will be back at the top of the order. The inning continues. That's a ground ball. Nice scoop at short. The throw to first is in time, and the infield continues to work wonders, holding Cinnaminson without a run. We go to the bottom of the fourth, 1-0 SJG. Here in the bottom of the fourth inning, it's time for DWB Trivia Time in a 1-0 game here between the Cinnaminson Reds and the South Jersey Grizzlies, with the Grizzlies being the favored team here, 1-0. Today's question is, when was the last time that Philadelphia hosted the MLB All-Star Game? Was it 1999, 2011, 1996, or 1984? The correct answer is C, 1996, with a line drive into center field, a base hit. We'll go back to the main board as a leadoff single there. Off the bat of the Grizzlies, gets them started to try to cushion their lead a little bit here in the middle innings, but runner on first and nobody out here. First pitch. That one misses. That's going to be a line drive. They're going to go for two. There's the throw. It is in time. Around the horn it goes. 5-4-3. And a double play is turned, sucking a lot of the momentum that South Jersey had right out of the bat. Says that will be a double play for the Reds. Double plays are harder to turn than you think unless you've got a slow runner on second and a slow runner on first. They are hard to pull off. I know I used to play. I mean, I was the right fielder of the Little League team, the guy who was known for picking dandelions and everything like that and watching the airplanes go by. But, you know, I played second base for 1 inning, and we tried to turn a double play. I got the one out, but the shortstop couldn't get the second out. It's hard to do. It is a lot harder than you think, because getting one out is hard enough, you know, beating that runner out to first base, but getting two at the same time, it's why, you know, you don't see many triple plays. I think there's only been like 200, 300 triple plays in the 155-year history of Major League Baseball. That one's upstairs. But it's incredible. It really is. I mean, something that seems so fundamental to baseball, you know, diehards is a very hard task to do at its most basic level. That's a swing and a foul. So again, Root singled, and then that was a 5-4-3 double play started by Palma. But Aversa here, after a quick meeting here from the pitcher and catcher. But yes, the answer to the trivia time question was C, 1996, although the Phillies will be hosting the All-Star Game in 2026 at Citizens Bank Park to celebrate 250 years of the United States, dating back to 1776. But it is interesting, they decided on the Phillies being the 2026 host years ago, and they're just now getting around to the 2024 All-Star Game. I think it might be in either Texas or Atlanta, something like that. I've heard maybe Baltimore is another option, but they should have it at Fenway Park. They haven't had an All-Star Game at Fenway Park since 1999, and it's a wonderful place where I think there should be a ballpark. But at the same time, Atlanta's a newer stadium, more state-of-the-art. They've already had many All-Star games in Boston, but there's a ground ball out to second base, and he'll take it to the bag himself to retire the side. We're moving along quickly here in Runnymede. After 4, 1-0 South Jersey Grizzlies. Here we go, top of the 5th inning. This broadcast is brought to you by Garden State Pet Center. Open 7 days a week on the 200 block of Whitehorse Pike in Audubon, NJ. Visit their website at Exotic Pets NJ for all the newest information and what you can find for the healthiest products for your pet and anything that you may need, including pets, reptiles, small animals, toys, cages, anything like that, including healthy food as well for your animal and companion. So anything available there at the Garden State Pet Center, visit them today, 200 block of Whitehorse Pike, and at their website, exoticpetsnj.com. Swing and miss. A quick 3-pitch strikeout is how we start the 5th inning, as Roberts is retired. Strike 1 to Keller. Got a piece of it and it's foul. But yeah, the only offense today has been that home run in the bottom of the 3rd by Zach Morales. Estimated distance on that ball, 367 feet, brought to you by DWB Analytics. This is inside. Skips well inside, almost grazed the shoelace a little bit. Six strikeouts for the left-hander Danny Robeson in this one. And he's been wheeling and dealing. He allowed a walk to lead off the game. He looked rather reckless and out of control out there, but as the innings went by, he honed it in, and even though Cinnaminson has gotten some runners on in the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th, it's all worked out in the end. Right back to the mound, and the flip to first in time, 2 down. That's not the first time that Roberson's made a good play out there on the hill. It's the same reason why Greg Maddux won 18 gold gloves when he played for Atlanta and Chicago and all the rest in the 90s, 2000s, because being a good fielder as a pitcher, it's more instinctive and it's more demanding than many consider, because you know, if you're at first base, you're 90 to 100 feet away from the action. Same with the second baseman and the third baseman. You know, you're a decent bit away from where everybody's standing. Like, you can see where the infield is right now. They are all on the edge of the dirt, some of them even creeping out onto the grass, and that goes for short and third as well. But when you're a pitcher, you're 60 feet away from the batter's box, and the time you have to react to a ball coming straight at your dome is less amount of time than it takes for the human eye to blink, 400 milliseconds. So it's really a wonderful thing. Not for the pitcher who has to react to it, but just for the pitchers who can, you know, the extraordinary reaction time, you know, almost feline-like that they have to go through. But to Petrocelli, he's going to walk. He's reached base twice tonight. He was hit by a pitch in the 3rd and now has walked, so he'll get to first base, bringing up Kyle Bally here. He flew out to center field both times. That one's hit for a single to center field. So Cinnaminson's got 2 on here. So a walk and a single by Bally will bring up Sam Pepper, as a mound visit will ensue here between the catcher and pitcher. So Nigro and Robeson will break. With Sam Pepper batting now. Pepper of Barton College will line this one out to first, and the side will be retired as nope, never mind, foul ball. So everybody will go back to their respective spot. I couldn't tell from that angle, so apologies on that front, but it's 0-1. Pepper, 10 for 21, 476 average, 1 double, and a 1046 OPS. And again on deck, Sean Ahrens of the Delran community. He'll be up next. Yeah, I think Ahrens is the AHRENS. That's the name I hear first when I think of Delran. Or when I hear of Delran, that's the first name I think of, especially when it comes to their sports. I think there's at least 3 or 4 members of that family that are 4-year varsity fellas, but there's a fly ball out to straightaway right, and it is taken in by Morales to retire the side. Cinnaminson has left at least a half dozen men on base this evening, and I'm sure they would like some runs to complement that, but they'll need to work just a little bit harder for it. It is 1-0 South Jersey. We'll be right back. It's been a pitcher's duel all night, but the 1 over the 0, if you can do basic math, that'll tell you who's leading right now. South Jersey Grizzlies over to Cinnaminson Reds here in the Tri-County qualifying round of their playoffs as, whoa, I think he went, and I think they'll call it as such as there's a strike. It will be 9-1-2, McGettigan, Gorski, and Templeton. DH, the shortstop and the third baseman for the Grizzlies, as Zach Morales had a home run in the bottom of the 3rd inning, and that has been the only scoring on either side tonight, as there's a strike. But McGettigan, 9 for 49, 184 average, 10 walks though, so his on-base percentage is inflated a little bit to .322. However, his problem is that he's got 18 strikeouts, which makes for a rather unimpressive 37% strikeout rate, and I think you can add another to it. So there's a strikeout to lead off the bottom of the fifth as Gorski will come up. As I was told before the game, Gorski is the batting title champion of the 2023 season. Gorski, the infielder, batting .476, 33 for 69 in the regular season, and there's a ground ball up the third baseline foul. No homers, but 7 walks and 9 strikeouts as a batter. And only 8 extra base hits out of those 33 hits all year, 2 triples, 6 doubles. And the shocking thing is that despite him being a leadoff man, only 2 stolen base attempts. He's 1 for 2. Batting .476, OPS of 1.149. On base percentage of .526. And that one just missed inside. Or just missed him. That was close to being a painful trip to first base. That's a line drive out to second. Nice play on the run. He got him. Man, that is some great defense out there by Bryce Keller. He's made a couple of those throws on the run where he's just got all of it in him. And he has been instrumental in holding that Grizzlies lead to just 1. But here's Templeton. Templeton 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a line drive to left his first time. Templeton of Immaculata, batting .279, 17 for 61, 10 walks, and a .703 OPS. That one's hit well, and it will be a base hit in the center field. So taking it in will be Petrocelli, and that's going to put just 1 on for the Grizzlies, giving them some 2-out life here in the bottom of the fifth. Although some ominous clouds await out in center field. You can see out there's a it's a little bit out of focus there from our fence, but you can kind of see. And I don't know if that's, hold on one sec, we got to get back in focus. That always happens. There we go. See, I hadn't zoomed all the way out all night because I didn't want to look at the clouds, but now that they're here, I don't see anything on my weather app that says that it's going to be an issue. It just might be dark clouds. They might not have anything to offer, but I mean, there's just been so many issues this summer with rainouts and postponement of games. You know, some teams have played a great fewer amount of games than others have. You know, like the Gartons have played 19 games. They were 18-1. Here goes a runner down to second base. The throw might have tagged him on the foot. No, it's going to go into center field. Throw got away from Keller, and it'll be still on base for Templeton. Yeah, Grizzlies are definitely going to need some insurance here, especially if Wickersham starts showing his cracks and shows that vulnerability that will, you know, probably be the be-all, end-all in this game. As there's a ground ball to third, it's going to be a nice scoop at first, and it's going to be in time to retire the side. That was some Cirque du Soleil stuff right there. He bobbled the ball, caught it in motion, and retired the side. Cinnaminson, they've got some Savannah Bananas defense going on right now. After 5, 1-0 Grizzlies. first pitch is going to be hit well out to center field. Over it, and calling him off and making the catch out there will be Opperly for the first out. Some nice messing around out there in center field. So a first pitch fly out for Cinnaminson starts off the top of the sixth, but they are running out of outs. I think it goes without saying when you look at the scoreboard. They've left a lot of men on base. They've had the opportunities, but they failed to deliver on a lot of them. So they will need to pick up the pace on the offensive side of the ball. They've had great defense. They've had great pitching from Wickersham. And as we said, the only run was a solo home run by Morales in the bottom of the third. I mean, what are you going to do about it? There's a ground ball out to third, throw across is in time. 2 down. Again, just 4 outs now. But they've got less opportunities. It's never a good sign. I mean, you know, both teams' defenses have been incredible tonight. We've seen some absolutely masterful plays that are, you know, borderline D1, but I've seen some plays that were better than how Derek Hall did last night. I mean, he dropped the routine ground ball at first base, and Bryson Stott made an error too. Phillies had 3 errors, and they still won the game. Just goes to show, I mean, defense isn't always the greatest equation, but at the same time, Cinnaminson in South Jersey have had some great defense, some great pitching tonight, excuse me. But a fly ball to center by Aarons and a 5-3 ground out by Martin is now already a 2-out situation for Vinny Sangataldo. Fly ball, foul. And then Kevin Carty would round it out as the catcher. But you look at the Cinnaminson scorecard and you say, okay, I've got a runner on third in the first inning, but then 3 straight outs, don't score. 2 runners on in the second, don't score. Runner on in the third, 2 on in the fourth, 2 on in the fifth. And then at the end of the day, nobody scored. So at the end of everything, you can mark down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 runners that Cinnaminson has left on base without a single run in the box score to show for it. That one's a foul ball back to the chain link fence. Again, make sure to follow our Twitter at DW Broadcasting and follow the Twitter of the Tri-County Baseball League, Tri-County Online, for more information on where we'll be next. We're going to be on call with league officials tonight to figure out where our next move will be for Game 2 of the qualifying rounds. So stay tuned for more information on that and what will be the future plans for this qualifying round coverage on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. Again, if you have any questions or comments about today's broadcast, drop me a line at thedanwilkinsshow@gmail.com. That one misses, and a rather emphatic bat flip leaves Cinnaminson with their 9th base runner of the evening in Sangataldo, and it'll bring up Kevin Carty here. He is 0 for 2, a strikeout and a ground out in his 2 plate appearances so far. And again, Connell Roberts on deck for the Reds. See, it feels weird calling Cinnaminson the Reds instead of the Pirates, as their high school team name is known as, because, you know, I've covered the Cinnaminson Pirates before, and then the TCBL has a Burlington Township Pirates team. So, sends my brain for a loop for a second, but yeah, Kevin Carty, again, a utility man out of Barton College, batting 143, 2 for 14. 1 walk, 331 OPS. So he's still getting his footing here in the Tri-County League in this 2023 season. There's a strike. This is inside. will be ball 4. So again, Cinnaminson will have 2 runners on. That being Sangataldo and Carty. And now Connell Roberts will be up trying to even the score at least, but this will ensue a pitching change here. As this is the second time that the Grizzlies have had a mound visit out here, so although that may be just 2 in the same inning, I'm sure. Yeah, 2 in the same inning? Okay, my apologies then. So they'll break and they'll keep their man, Danny Robeson, out there. As Coach Gruber is going to make darn sure that Cinnaminson does not score here. If they leave both of these runners on, it would be the 10th base runner that they've left on this evening, which would be not really a good look in the box score, going into game 2, because if all those guys come around to score, you've got a 10-1 game instead of a 1-0 game. I've said it before, no matter how many base runners you leave on, it doesn't matter. It matters how many runners actually come across and score. Because you can get on base with walks and singles and everything like that. As there's a fly ball down the right field line, that one is a fair ball. No, foul ball. Foul ball. Oh, man, sorry about that. That was so close, as Connell Roberts was maybe just a couple of feet, if not less, away from turning this game on its head and the trajectory of it into a frenzy. I mean, if that ball gets down, both runners easily score, and it's 2-1 Cinnaminson, but alas, I mean, that is a tough break. As Roberts still looking for that golden opportunity. Here's the pitch. He shatters the bat out in the shallow right center field. That's going to be a base hit. It's booted by Morales. Here comes the runner to the plate. The game is tied. Holding at third will be Brandon Martin. And on a broken bat base hit, that's going to make it 1-1. Holy goodness, that was a clutch hit and a half, as Connell Roberts held at third, and Zach Morales, who had originally been my candidate for player of the game, now commits a unfortunate defensive miscue and leaves Cinnaminson with their first run of the day on the RBI single by Roberts, scoring Sangataldo and moving Kevin Carty to third. Or rather, Brandon Martin as a pinch runner. That one's fouled back, 0-1 to Bryce Keller. And Keller's 0 for 3. He's got 2 strikeouts and a grounder right back to the mound. That one goes to the backstop. Going to second will be Roberts, and he'll get in there uncontested. But man, if Cinnaminson takes the lead here, that would most certainly be a very, very pivotal point in this ball game, because Cinnaminson looked like they had no gas in the tank, had no life, and now they have been revived and have a new identity as a ball club. That one is foul. Again, Tim Petroselli on deck for the Reds. Just like the real-life Cincinnati Reds. Sometimes they're hot, sometimes they're cold. And right now, they have been red hot at the right time. Fly ball, shallow, right field line. Who's got it? It will be the Grizzlies' second baseman, Mr. Palma, to make the catch and retire the side. But don't leave the effort without any recognition for the RBI base hit by Connell Roberts, who got the run home but unfortunately sacrificed a bat in the process. We go to the bottom of the 6th now. This is going to get interesting. 1-1 game. Here in the bottom of the 6th, Grizzlies trying to take the lead away from Cinnaminson as the first pitch. Looks like it was a strike. As we are descending on some nightfall here, but still have a little bit of time, so the Grizzlies should not wait to execute their opportunity, we'll say, to say the least. So here is going to be Root, and then Palma and Aversa. There's a strike. But yeah, it looked like this was going to be a pitcher's duel up until the very end, and obviously Wickersham's still out there for the Reds, but it looked like this game was going to be very straightforward, 1-0 game, but now things are getting interesting. Grizzlies with a leadoff walk. This is going to bring up Palma. Or this actually is Aversa, excuse me. So Aversa and then Nigro. Here's the pitch. Oh, and this is inside. Runner on first, nobody out here in a very contentious bottom of the 6th for the Reds and Grizzlies. Called a strike right on the corner. These guys are going to talk it over now, seeing what strategy they can work together with. A great crowd on hand here on this Wednesday evening. As Cinnaminson will look to continue their success and continue their momentum, if you will, because they didn't have any of that until the top of the 6th inning when they got that run across off of Roberson. Runner goes. Here comes the throw down to second base, and he'll get in there standing up. So a stolen base for Alperley. That one's a grounder out to second base. Keller picks it up, and it's in time, but moving over to third will be Alperley. And there is one out for Nigro, or excuse me, no, for Sasha Palma. Downstairs. So Palma and then Aversa up next. Again, Grizzlies 90 feet away from taking the lead here in the bottom of the 6th. But Wickersham with a strike. To the Grizzlies' second baseman, Palma. Auperley on third. One down, 1-1 game. Down and away. A little bit of a breeze picking up here as the sunset falls a little further. That one's a fly ball, hit down the right field line. This one could go out of play, and it will. That's a big sigh of relief for Cinnaminson, because the less balls you have to deal with in play, the less possibility of a sacrifice fly or, again, that go-ahead base hit. You want to keep the ball as close to home as possible, because if that ball goes into the outfield, Auperley is scoring. I don't think anybody throws him out. That is ball 4 to Palma. And that's actually, believe it or not, kind of a blessing. Because if Aversa hits it on the ground here, that's a double play opportunity. And that would be a good opportunity for them to get out of the inning. If it were me, I think I would have intentionally walked Palma in the first place, set up that position with the runner on third or runner on first and third, and try to get that situation to work in your favor, especially if you know that the hitter you're going to be facing is a ground ball hitter. But Aversa hits line drives, so anything's possible, although that situation is kind of thwarted on a rather unusual, uncontested stolen base. So now that double play situation is again out the window unless Aversa reaches first, which would set up, you know, kind of a easiest base available situation. But the infield is in. Toes on the edge of the infield grass. Everybody's got to be ready to make a play. I mean, it's fundamental. There's a strike. He got him. A late punch out at home, but there's 2 down. That is huge. That is absolutely huge right there. It's Aversa. I mean, that's exactly what you needed.
Were you fat when you were a kid?
So here's Nick Nigro, the catcher. Again of PVI, as there is a strike on the breaking ball from Wickersham. You got to imagine velocity's going down a little bit. He's thrown a lot of pitches. But with 2 runners on and 2 outs and a tie game, this could set up a very interesting situation. As there's another strike. Infield again shifted a little bit. Keller out in the outfield, which is very interesting for a righty. Seems a little backwards, but if it works, then it's no problem. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. He got him! Wickersham with a huge strikeout. And the 6th inning ends with the game still tied and runners on second and third left abandoned. We go to the 7th, 1-1 tie game. However, they are in a race against Mother Nature, if you will, to see how long they can get that lasting with 7:51 being our local time. So we'll be right back after this. Well, we may be in a race against time, but I'll tell you this right now, we are slowing it down for one of the best games you'll see in a long time. A pitcher's duel for the ages, as we will have a new pitcher for the South Jersey Grizzlies after 6 incredible innings from Danny Roberson. It is now Cooper Root on the hill, as moving out to left is Zach Morales, and I believe now in right field is going to be Roberson, although I can't see his jersey from out here. But now the new pitcher is Cooper Root, as he faces off against Tim Petroselli here in the top of the 7th inning. So if you are just joining us and missing out on the action, Zach Morales gave South Jersey Grizzlies the lead in the bottom of the 3rd with a solo home run to left center, and they actually almost made it back-to-back in the same inning, but the ball just stayed in the yard. In the top half of the 6th, Cinnaminson tied the game thanks to a broken bat single off the bat of Connell Roberts. And South Jersey left 2 on, as there's a fly ball hit out towards left center field, going over and making the catch is the shortstop, that being Gorski, and there's 1 down. And as a reminder, you take a look for yourself. I mean, it is not showing up as well on my camera, but it is decently getting a little bit dim, but I mean, it's not terrible, but it's also not great at the same time. There's a foul ball. So I'm sure if these guys don't want to have a suspended game, turn into a whole big deal, especially with umpiring associations and everything like that, with extra travel that would be needed. I don't know if that's something that these guys would want to exactly wager on, but there is a strike. Line shot to left. That is a foul ball by a hair. Much closer than that. I mean, really, we've seen a lot of close calls off the Reds' bats this evening, but can't get much closer than that.
What's that? A hand smile? No, take one that way.
Here is the pitch from Root. Swing and a foul. I think it might have gotten a piece of, of Petroselli. So it'll be 3, 4, and 5. Petroselli, Bally, and Sam Pepper, who's had a couple of deep fly balls in this one. As Root stares down his catcher, McGettigan, kicks and delivers. High chopper out towards short, picked up, and the throw to first is a little high, but it's in time. 2 down. 1 down. Getting ahead of myself here. Which, considering how much time these guys have left, I mean, right now, I believe it's about 8 o'clock or something like that, but couldn't find my phone, but yeah, 8. I can't see the time. Oh, okay, 7:57. So pretty close to 8, and if this were a clear day with no clouds, I'm sure we'd have a little bit more time. But there's a fly ball, straightaway center, going in and making the catch to retire the side. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning. We've got a walk-off situation, folks. We'll see what happens. After 6.5, it's 1-1. What a game this has been, and it's all coming to a head right here. Bottom of the 7th, and Reds and South Jersey tied up here after what has been a very tumultuous and maybe not back and forth game, because Cinnaminson's had this game tied since the top of the 6th, but really it's been a star-studded show, and we will see if South Jersey can get themselves in the win column here in the playoffs on their home turf in Game 1. There's a strike. And remember, if we run out of daylight, there will be a suspended game, and whether or not we cover that suspended game is to be determined, considering all logistical things, so we will keep everyone updated on that regard. There's a pop-up out to first, going out as Martin, and instead it will be Keller who makes the catch, 1 down. Grizzlies now with another chance here. Bringing up Gorski. Again, the batting champion in the Tri-County League this year. And he could use that clutch factor to get his batting average even higher, actually. But I think the important thing here would be, outside of getting a base hit, rip a ball into the gap, use the speed to your advantage, and try to get as many bases as you can without being overly greedy. As there's a grounder right back to Wickersham. Throw to first is in time, and there's 2 down. And once again, keep in mind that if the game is suspended, there would be no post-game interview because the game isn't over yet. So it would be quite a weird situation for us, uncharted waters for us in the DWB crew, but would definitely be something that is very interesting. But whether we cover that game or not, stay tuned on our Twitter at DW Broadcasting. Swing and a miss. Wickersham with a big pitch there to Templeton. And then Morales on deck if the inning continues. That one misses downstairs. The first 3 in the 8th inning for the Reds would be Aarons, Martin, and then Spangalado, or Spangtaldo, excuse me. Up and in. Not just a race to see who can get the fastest run, but this is a race against the clock, and both teams are running out of time, running out of outs. We'll see what they can do. Here's the pitch. That's ball 4. I think the Grizzlies needed that. If they had any hope, any chance of moving this game to, finishing tonight instead of tomorrow or whenever it would be, I think that's probably one of the best chances that they have. So Templeton with a walk. Here is Morales. He homered in the 3rd inning. What will he do now off of Wickersham? That one's outside. I mean, hey, Morales, he's homered before, even tonight. He could do it again. The question is, will he? Morales lifts it down the right field line, out towards right center field, going back, and it's off the wall, crashing into the wall. Here comes the around 3rd, and the Grizzlies have won the ball game. Walk-off double, Zach Morales. And Game 1 ends in a thriller. A banged-up right fielder for the Reds. Hopefully, Sangataldo's okay. But a walk-off double, Zach Morales, and Game 1 ends in one of the most thrilling ways that you can imagine. And not just that, but at the same time, you've now got your player of the game. Zach Morales, your Doug Does Anything player of the game. This broadcast is brought to you by Doug Does Anything, your local handyman. For any job done, no matter how big or small, give Doug Does Anything a call, 856-412-0118. Stay on the air with us. We'll be right back for our player of the game interview with Zach Morales. We'll be right back. Garden State Pet Center is an independently owned full-service pet store. Our specialty is promoting companionship between people and animals by providing the healthiest product choices available, including all-natural foods, supplements that support and relieve health issues, and innovative products for pet parents. Our goal is to provide our customers with a relaxing environment, and while we're not striving to be the biggest store on the East Coast, we're striving to be the best. No other pet store will make you feel at home like we do. At Garden State Pet Center, we view pets as members of the family. We don't believe in fast, high-pressure sales, but instead matching up the right pet with the right owners, as you are making a lifelong commitment. Together with our team members, we would like your visit to our store to be both enjoyable and educational. Simply drop in and take a look around. View the birds, reptiles, small animals, toys, food, cages, and miscellaneous items. Learn of the services we have to offer and decide for yourself if this is the store you'd like to call your home away from home.
Victor Santucci, owner of Garden State Pet Center. Visit us today at 226 South Whitehorse Pike in Audubon, New Jersey. We're open 7 days a week for all of your pets' needs.
Ladies and gentlemen, the final score here from Game 1, the Grizzlies 2, the Reds 1. We thought that we were going to have to deal with a suspended game tomorrow in Cinnaminson, but this player right here made sure that this game ended tonight. Your Doug Does Anything player of the game, Zach Morales. This broadcast is brought to you by Doug Does Anything, your local handyman. For any job done, no matter how big or small, give Doug Does Anything a call, 856-412-0112. But you were instrumental in making sure that the Grizzlies won today. You know, besides your pitcher with Roseman out there, you know, he was wonderful out there, but you were the answer. 2 RBIs out of the 2 runs that were scored in that home run in the 3rd inning. How'd you feel out there today?
You know, I felt really great. You know, it's always nice to know when Danny gets on the mound, he's always going to give us a chance. And, you know, I just get up there and stick with my approach, trying to help him out as much as I can. You know, he's been a great arm for us all summer, and he just needs a little run support, and you know, he'll run with it. He's been lights out for us all summer, and you know, it was nice to know that I can go out there and stay within my approach, and you know, kind of give him a little bit of the help that he needed. And he was eventually gonna, you know, take care of the rest, because you know, at the end of the day, he's just one of the better arms of the league. So we gotta help him out, and it was just nice. It's always nice when he's on the mound. Always nice.
And especially for you guys who finished the season 4th in the South Division of the Tri-County League, you guys had an uphill battle, but started off the series at home, got it with a walk-off win. I thought that this game was going to end 1-0. I really thought it was, because Robeson was absolutely dealing. He had 7 strikeouts, and he originally was going to be my pick for player of the game if he went all the way. But once Cinnaminson tied it, they really, I thought it could go either way. And then, you know, they had that the walk, and then you had that RBI double to right center off the wall, and the game was over. So really, overall, I mean, it was a battle between Robeson and yourself and the rest of the team. I mean, really, it was basically instrumental in what made this game so important for the Grizzlies this evening. But for you guys out there, Cinnaminson did get a lot of runners on. They had 10 runners on before they scored their first run. How'd you guys feel out there on defense, holding them without a run for so long?
Yeah, you know, like I said, it's just, you know, on the other side of the ball, on the defensive side, you got to do everything you can to help Danny when he's on the mound, because, you know, he's going to give you all the chances you need as an offense. So on the other side of the ball, defensively, you just got to control what you can control, and, you know, just do your job out there and help him out, because that's ultimately one of the most important things, you know. You can't be a one-dimensional player. You got to be a two-dimensional player and get it done on both sides of the ball. So anything to help him out, like I said, if we're all doing our jobs in that respect, and you know, we're helping him out in any way we can, he's going to be the one that gets it done for us. So you know, kudos to him, but it's all about doing the job on the defensive side of the ball and staying just as locked in out there on defense, and you know, kind of level-headed as you are on offense. So that's kind of the most important thing to me.
And when Cinnaminson tied the game in the top of the 6th inning, you guys had to fight back to get that lead back, and as you did in the bottom of the 7th. But once Cinnaminson tied the game, what was your battle plan to make sure that this game would not be suspended into tomorrow?
Absolutely. You know, kind of the plan moving forward, and from that point on in the game, was to just stick with my approach, not do too much. You know, we're kind of seeing a pitcher that relies on a breaker a lot. So if you could see that and just be on time for the fastball, but we're seeing the breaker, then we're going to have a lot of success, you know, putting together quality at-bats, grinding out at-bats. That's what's ultimately going to get you to that big spot and be able to, you know, deliver in that spot. So kind of just staying, like I said, staying level-headed, and you know, when they tied the game up, just sticking to the plan and not trying to do too much, just taking what is given. And every at-bat is the first at-bat of the summer, I like to say. Big Steve Springer guy, so yeah, every at-bat's first at-bat of the summer. You just got to go in with that mentality and stick to the approach.
And I like that approach as well. I mean, you know, in your spring season, 12 home runs with Penn State Abington, and the fact that you were able to transfer this power over to this field, especially with how darn tall the fences are, and the fact that you're able to get them over the fence almost twice. But you know, you got it over once out, you know, 370 to left center field, and then you got one off the right center field wall later. It just seemed like everything was working right for you with the bat. You had a ton of great power swings this evening. What were you seeing out there that just locked it in so good for you?
Yeah, I was just, my approach is I just hunt locations, and, I'm not afraid to get the one strike if he makes a pitcher's pitch. I'll just tip my cap and kind of just stick to the approach of hunting locations. If he makes a pitch in there, then I got to get my A swing off and do as best as I can with that. And, just basically staying rear-legged and keep my eye level back and just letting the rest take care of itself. I was just seeing the ball pretty well, and it was pretty easy going up there when I knew that, like I said, Danny was going to give us a chance, and anything that was in that zone that I was hunting, I was just connecting on some A swings, and it all worked out eventually. So that's pretty much what the approach was.
Well, that's great to hear. And you guys are up 1-0. You've got at least one more game to conquer versus Cinnaminson, which would be tomorrow. And it would be a very challenging situation, like it or not, if this game went into extra innings, and if it had to be suspended into tomorrow, would have left a lot of people sleepless tonight, and it would have left a lot of people questioning what the energy would have been going into tomorrow and for the rest of the series. So you put that all to rest. Robeson put it all to rest. Now, what is your plan going forward with the rest of the team?
Yeah, moving forward, we're just going to make small adjustments, especially in the bottom half of the sixth inning. Really just trying not to hit that lull and grind out quality at bats. Just kind of adapting to the game, and everybody's 0-0 once we start the playoffs, so we just got to go in with a clean slate and just know our pitchers are going to put in some work for us, and we got to do our job as well as they're doing theirs. So that's kind of the mentality as we saw tonight. If they give us a chance, then we gotta do our job, and we got to capitalize on that chance that they're giving us. So we got a lot of momentum rolling into that, and I think we're going to increase that quality at bat percentage tomorrow, and it's going to be a good day.
And that sounds like a good plan. Thank you, Zach. You're the
Thank
player
you very
of the game.
much. Thank you.
And that will conclude this broadcast this evening here from the Runnymede Babe Ruth Complex. From everybody here at Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, my graphics crew, Gavin Van Rel and Caleb Lane, my producer, Vincent Vogt, and myself, Dan Wilkins. We'll see you tomorrow. We don't know where we'll be. We'll figure it out. Follow us on Twitter at DW Broadcasting for more information on where we'll be and when we'll be there and what you guys can expect from our next broadcast. 2-1, South Jersey Grizzlies upset I wouldn't say upset because they're on their home turf, but the walk-off double from Zach Morales puts the Reds to bed in Game 1. We'll see you guys tomorrow, guys. Have a great evening.